This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in San Diego County today, joined by Kathleen Ferrier. She is with Circulate San Diego, which is what?
Circulate San Diego is a regional nonprofit organization in San Diego that advocates for excellent mobility choices and healthy, vibrant neighborhoods.
How's it going in terms of those goals and missions?
Well, we've got some job security.
Yes, we do.
Because we have made a lot of progress over the years, but we still would like to see a lot more change, and our cities are so dynamic, and so they're constantly changing, and there's constant challenges, and so we are working to overcome those challenges and create healthy neighborhoods.
Right, and there's so many different layers when you think about transportation, funding, city, county, state, national, who knows who's going to be putting money into the pot. We know Sacramento's looking at roads.
Right.
Some counties are passing transportation sales taxes. San Diego County did not. But
that's right.
We won't go there.
Right.
Let's talk about an issue that really can be quite devastating, and that's the issue of traffic injuries and deaths. And it's our worst nightmare. How serious is the issue in San Diego County?
Well, in the region, yes, and in the county, we've seen the numbers of traffic fatalities increase, and especially for people who are walking. And so last year, the county medical examiner of San Diego reported that the previous year there was a 33% increase in the number of pedestrian serious injuries and fatalities.
Why?
The reason is because we have a lot of roads and communities that are designed for high speed, and we are often distracted from the task at hand, whether it's driving, walking, bicycling safely. And so we need to be more aware of safety and more focused in everything that we're doing.
And we're being encouraged to use alternate modes of transportation, being our feet or our bicycles or whatever it may be, so the roads are just busier.
The roads are busier, that's exactly right. In a lot of areas, they're simply chaotic because you have transit lines, you have people walking and biking. So you're exactly right. As we've pushed to create more choices, people are using those choices, but as a result, it's become more confusing, and we need to be able to have street design that assigns people their place to be on the street, and that doesn't always happen.
I want to get a better sense about speed and the power of speed and the risk of speed. Give us a sense of where we are with that issue.
Well, speed kills. That's the problem. Yeah. And we've designed streets in our communities for high speeds because the goal has been to move cars efficiently from one place to another. And that's been a fine goal, but it's only one goal, while meanwhile we've lost sight of some other goals in our communities. So take, for example, someone who's walking. If a pedestrian is hit by a car that's going 40 miles an hour, they have a 10% chance of surviving. 10. If that car is going 20 miles an hour, so cut the speed in half, they have a 90% chance of surviving. And so what we'd like to see is people still moving around in their cars, but just slowing the speeds down.
And I gotta say, we're so focused on distracted driving, and that obviously is a huge issue, but sometimes I notice distracted walking.
We're all distracted, quite honestly.
But it can be, you can be putting yourself at risk if you're crossing the street. It may be at the appropriate time, but you're on your phone, you're putting your own life in jeopardy.
Certainly with the onset of cell phones, we've seen a lot more distraction. There's been numerous studies trying to calculate the increased risk that people are imposing on themselves, whether they're driving or walking, amidst all these distractions.
Is there a correlation between pedestrian deaths or traffic deaths and the relative wealth of the community?
That's an excellent question, and yes, there is. We're seeing that in cities across the country, including San Diego, that people in lower income neighborhoods are at greatest risk for being hit by cars.
Why do we think that's so?
It's a number of factors. One, oftentimes people in these communities are dependent on walking or taking transit.
That makes sense.
They're more likely to be out on the street walking or taking transit. Another reason is because a history of disinvestment, quite frankly, because the roads have not seen the repair or the safety improvements that it takes to make it safer for those people walking.
And that brings up a question. Are the state of our roads, which are in significant disrepair, we know that we need $139 billion worth of repairs in the state of California. Does that increase the probability of a tragic car accident?
By not having the road in good repair? Right. You know, it's really more about some other safety features that can be put on the road. Things to slow the speed down primarily, things that help protect the person walking or biking. I mean, you can look at a bike lane, for example. Right. And certainly for a bicyclist, the condition of the pavement is an issue. If it's not good, that pothole is a significant factor on a bike. But the presence of a bike lane is significant in helping that bicyclist be safe.
So let's talk about a campaign in which Circulate San Diego is a lead sponsor, and it's known as Vision Zero. What is Vision Zero?
Well, first I like to talk about Vision Zero as something, it's about me, it's about you, it's about our families and communities in San Diego and across the country, but most of all it's about saving lives. And the goal of Vision Zero is to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries by 2025. So it's an audacious goal.
That's a quite audacious goal.
Most people raise their eyebrows. Right. Correct. But we have to believe that we can get there, and we can get there. It won't take a couple of days. The problem wasn't created in a couple of days or weeks. It's what has happened over the course of decades in the way that our communities have been designed and how we feel or think about traffic culture. But what's different about Vision Zero from previous approaches is that it says these traffic deaths and injuries are preventable by working together and thinking strategically, by providing safe street design, education, and police enforcement of dangerous behaviors. It's a new way of thinking about traffic safety. And as we said before, speed kills. That's the number one factor. And so we can recognize that crashes are always going to happen. People will make mistakes on the road.
I see what you're saying, but if you're going slower, like you said, it's a 10% chance of survival to a 90% chance of survival.
So over time, we can eliminate the most serious injuries and those fatalities by slowing speeds.
So what will it take? Do we need local action, state action, federal action? I think I know the answer, but
of course, it's always the same answer. Yes, we need all of the above.
Right, but let's think about it locally, be it in San Diego or California. What needs to happen for Vision Zero's audacious goals to be met?
Well, let's start with the city of San Diego, because that's where mostly Circulate San Diego and a broad coalition of 20 organizations that support Vision Zero. We stood with the mayor in June of 2015 to release a report about Vision Zero, and Mayor Faulkner at that time endorsed the goal. In October of 2015, that same year, the City Council adopted a resolution for Vision Zero. So we've seen the political support. It's hard to argue against saving lives.
But do we need dollars? It would seem to me.
We need dollars, and we need political will and commitment for a number of things. One, the dollars help to provide the infrastructure, but it's thinking about infrastructure differently. So whereas the city today provides signals, safety improvements all over the city, what needs to happen is a very targeted approach. We know, looking at data, that crashes are more likely to happen in certain locations. In fact, Circulate San Diego released data showing that 8 corridors throughout the city are the most dangerous, and they have seen the most prevalence, the highest prevalence of crashes over the years.
In our final moment, self-driving vehicles. How does that play into Vision Zero in 30 seconds or less?
Sure. Well, you know, the point is that we are in a very dynamic time in our cities, and things are constantly changing. And so with the onset of autonomous vehicles, you know, people are saying that it will be safer, which is kind of a curious thing. But overall, if we can have this foundation of creating a culture of traffic safety, then even with autonomous vehicles, with shared vehicles, no matter how we're getting around, we'll be safer.
Okay, her name is Kathleen Ferrier. She is with Circulate San Diego. I'm Brad Pomerance. Stay safe. It's Local Edition.